In my first year of teaching, I had this boy named Gerald in my class. And Gerald was a really tough kid to have in the classroom. I learned a little bit about his home life. He was one of those kids that really only ate when he came to school. And, that was when he did come to school. So often he just wouldn't be there. His seat would be empty. And, this kid would act out a lot and rarely turn in any work. But you could see that there was something going on behind his eyes, that he wanted desperately to make it. And as a first year teacher, when a lot of people wrote this boy off, I was just inspired to do everything I could to help him make it, to be the first kid in his family to make it past high school. And so, I was bringing breakfast to him in the mornings. I was staying after school on days that I could convince him to stay after with me so I could help him catch up on schoolwork and succeed in other classes. I was doing everything I could to help Gerald out, even in class when he would act out. And I usually had this nice line drawn of that you don't cross as a student. This is how you behave. When Gerald would cross it, I would have this extra grace in me. Because I just felt like, if I do enough with this kid, he can be saved. The odds can be defied. And I started seeing improvement with him. Gerald started showing up to school more and more and more. He was starting to turn in work, and it wasn't great work, but it was work, and that was more than he'd done all the way up into this point, all the way up to his first year of high school. And we also started building a relationship. On Halloween, I brought in 2 rugby jerseys. I wore one, and then Gerald wore one. I mean, we were building this connection. And, about halfway through that first year of my teaching and his first year of high school, I was feeling like this kid's gonna make it. He's gonna succeed. Maybe we can save every student if we try hard enough. And then one Monday after the weekend, Gerald wasn't there. And that was something I was used to. I was used to this kid not showing up every day. And then on Tuesday, he didn't show up. And then Wednesday, and then Thursday, still no Gerald. Until finally on Friday, there he was. So I went up to him at the beginning of class and I said, "Hey, what's going on? Where have you been?" I'm thinking he's been skipping or something. And he looks at me with these just eyes, and they're just already full of tears. And Gerald tells me that his cousin had been shot over the weekend and killed. His cousin, who was like his best friend, was murdered. And Gerald just couldn't believe it. And he said he had to take the week off of school and spend time with family, and he doesn't know how he's going to go on. And he was friends with his cousin, and now he's worried about himself. And I'm sitting there, and I put my arms around him as he's just sobbing his eyes out. This tough exteriored kid is just letting it all go, and I could see that he's afraid, and he's also worried that maybe what happened to his cousin is going to happen to him next, and in the end he will not make it. And I'm assuring him that we are going to get through this, and I am going to be there for him. I've got his back. He started settling down, and I could see that he was hearing me, and he was trusting me. And then the weekend was there, and I lost touch with him for those 2 days. And on that Monday, Gerald wasn't there at school. And again, the rest of that week, he didn't show up. And then again the next week, this is 2 weeks without seeing Gerald. And then we finally got a phone call that Gerald had dropped out of high school. He wasn't coming back. It didn't matter how hard I worked with this kid or how many breakfasts we brought him in the morning. Didn't matter how much I told him that I have his back and that we are going to get through this. Gerald dropped out of school, and I never saw him again. I never got the opportunity to ask him how he's dealing with his cousin and what kind of support does he have, or what can I do to help him through this. He just never came back. And I think as a teacher, this is one of the hardest things that can happen. As a first-year teacher, you want to believe that you can save every one of your students if you put enough into it. And I can just tell you, I put everything I had into that kid, and he still dropped out of school. And you know, I have to believe that as teachers, we are planting seeds, and we're watering them, and we're giving them nutrients where we can, but we can't be assured that they're going to grow into trees. We don't know. We don't always get to see them blossom. Now, sometimes we do get to see kids succeed right before our eyes, and it's glorious, and those are the things that fill up our tanks and help us get through the hard work that we do. But sometimes that seed stays in the ground, and it might grow later on in life, and we might not ever know about it. Maybe Gerald found some way to get out of the life that he was in, but maybe not. And as a teacher, that breaks my heart. You know, my takeaway from this and other instances like this in the years since this happened, because Gerald wasn't the last kid who I feel like I let down. He wasn't the last kid who didn't make it before my eyes, is that it's okay to be sad about this kind of stuff. It's okay to feel let down. It's okay to feel like a failure sometimes. Now, I don't think that I was a failure. I'm able to reflect on it now and know that sometimes things are outside of our hands, and this is part of the difficult work of being a teacher. But it's okay to feel that way. And what's also true is that I don't think teachers go into this difficult profession for the money or the status, because we know neither of those really come with being a teacher. I think every teacher, all 5 million of us or whatever it is, do this because we believe in students like Gerald. We believe that sometimes the work that we do can make a difference in their lives, and thereby a difference in, the world. And it's nice to know we're not alone in this. If you've been a teacher for any amount of time, you've probably had a Gerald. You've probably had a moment where you had high expectations and it just came crashing down. So it's just nice to know that we're not alone with it. So please, keep planting seeds, keep watering them, keep feeding them, and keep the hope that sometimes they'll grow before our eyes and sometimes they won't, but you know that the work you do is important.